Today we've got a real treat because we've travelled to a beautiful remote property in the Batten Valley, which is just outside of Motueka, New Zealand, to visit a stunning off-grid cabin that you can visit if you want to. Hi Fiona.
Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you. G'day Richard, how's it going, mate? This hut just looks incredible. Can you tell me a little bit about how it actually came to be here on the property?
Well, apparently it used to be a changing room next to a swimming pool in Nelson, and we paid $2,000 for it and then panicked. And we thought, oh my gosh, it's 4.2 metres wide. We're not going to be able to get it up our narrow road. We've got 13 kilometres of very narrow one-way road. So I jumped on the back of the ute with a 4.2 metre pole, and Richard drove, and we went all the way up the road, and we thought, oh, it might just fit. And Richard was in the tractor, in the bucket of a tractor, chainsawing down branches, so we could get it here. Then it got completely refurbished inside. Yeah.
Wow, what a mission. But now it's here, it looks spectacular. The location is absolutely beautiful. Can you tell me a little bit about the property we're on right now?
It's just a typical sheep and beef farm, and it's fairly small scale. And Fee wanted to start a trekking business because her friend was retiring in the area, and we needed accommodation for the horse trekking, which Fee's still doing, that and run adventures.
So you've called this the Honeywell Hut. How did that come to be?
Well, our builder, Jack Honeywell, we've known as a personal friend for a number of years. And he put so much love and energy into making it unique, and all the little details that were his ideas. I felt it wasn't just him doing a job, it was that he put a lot of love into it, because he has a personal connection with the Batten Valley, has lived here in the Batten, and I think it was a labour of love, so that's why we called it the Honeywell Hut.
And I was his carpenter's labourer, so he credited me with giving him inspiration by wandering around the farm finding things for him to use. This is an example. That was a lintel of an old farm shed, and I wanted to use it. I got hold of a beech pole that had been lying around the farm for a long time, and it looked perfect. But actually most of the wood on the outside had perished, so we had to chip it right down, and we got to the point where we thought we're going to have to quit on this one. That's sort of an idea how things evolve.
So how long ago did you actually build this cabin now?
Well, I actually got confused. I thought it was only 5 years ago, but it's 8, isn't it?
At least 8, yeah.
Still only 8 years, and the hut looks like it's been here forever, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I think that's partly because I love rummaging around old junk shops in town, so things like this chair, I only paid $30 for it, and it just looks right. I do like finding odds and sods.
And Richard, you actually grew up here on the property, didn't you?
Yeah, all the locals look like me. No, the valley's not scary. Used to be a lot more isolated. I made up a story a long time ago about the isolation of the early days in the Batten. I recited it at a poetry jam once. It was a time when I was growing up here when you got really excited when you saw somebody new. It was quite unusual. You'd be talking about it for a while. Who was that? There was the grandfather bought this place for the gold on it. He wasn't a farmer, and he got clean conned. And we have got the perspective, the actual con job, hanging on the wall in this hut. And it does actually, you would get excited if you read it. It was a really good job. They think the con artists of the day, God, this is excellent. We go back 3 generations. There's a big age gap. So 1906, my grandfather first bought the property as an investment, as a mining proposition. Fortunately, the mining never took place. He was conned, but had it taken place, it wouldn't be as beautiful as it is now. So by a fraud, we managed to wind up in a place I think is paradise.
What you can't see from here is the whole valley opens up much more and looks right onto the Kahurangi National Park and Mount Arthur.
Oh wow.
And you can't quite see that from here. but also when people stay, they can walk all the way up into these hills over here. There's quite a lot to do, as well as the horse trekking, of course.
So obviously being all the way out here, we're not connected to any mains power or services, are we?
No, not here. So it's just solo power. And we've got a little O'Reilly wood stove that you can cook on. It cost me a sheep and I think 2 boxes of beer. So that was the transport, and the sheep was for the owner of the O'Reilly. So.
That's a pretty good deal, isn't it? Sheep and 2 boxes of beer. I haven't heard of that exchange on this show before.
And it's really efficient. It heats the water for the bath really quickly. It looks really ancient, but actually it works really well for heating the water.
And so you decided to do the toilet, shower, everything on the outside of the hut, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. I think that's mainly, there isn't a lot of space inside. And I think it's nice, really attractive to have a bath under the stars. So that's the main reason.
Especially when you're in such a beautiful and remote location. Why wouldn't you?
Well, you've got no light pollution here, so the stars are pretty impressive. You've just got to wait for the sandflies to go to bed.
Great. Well, should we have a look on the inside and see what you've done?
Yeah. Welcome. It's not very big.
Oh, it's lovely and warm in here, isn't it?
Yeah, so we lit the pot belly.
Yeah.
Pot bellies, so it would be nice and cosy.
Oh, the timber in here is gorgeous.
Well, the Macacapra was milled in this valley. It came from a neighbour's place. So that's all come from this valley. This was my old cattle yards. And this is what really challenged Jack to work with this sort of wood and get this sort of detail fitting.
Where did you get the balustrade then?
Oh, that was something else we found around the farm that Jack incorporated. Most of this timber has actually come from this valley, though the cabin was transported here. When we pulled, this was all plywood, and we pulled it off to see if there was any insulation behind it. And Jack shook his head and wanted to rebuild the whole thing, which he did. I thought, it's been carted here, it didn't come to pieces. No.
This end was coming down, that's why you needed to put this supporting beam in, I think, too. And there was just a sliding door here.
Oh, so that's all been modified then from the original?
Yeah, these 2 windows been put in, plus the little window at the top. The dome window was there, but in this area it was really run down inside here.
This sort of evolved, so we never really totted it all up. So
I think all up we spent about 30,000.
This is just such a lovely cozy space, and you really have everything you need in here. You've got lots of different beds, beautiful little dining table, and a really decent sized kitchen.
Yeah, and we've got a nice little wee fridge. All the pottery's local from just down the valley, and so yeah, I don't think you need much else.
You must have had a lot of fun being able to decorate a really rustic space like this.
I had a lot of fun being part of it.
Jack Honeywell, he just has got a really good eye for working things out and designing stuff. Like putting together, like I found the angel, and then he just adds to it, like Richard would have given him the antlers, and then he's just put the 2 together, and it's little details like that I think he was really good with.
The con job.
Yeah.
It suckered my grandfather and brought us into the valley in 1906. These terraces, this is the farm. And they were going to build a dam in the Alice, and they were going to sluice all these flats and retrieve a fortune worth of gold out of it, which would have left this area looking rather ugly, I'm afraid, but that was the plan.
And if you look at the details in it, it says that they were going to make over $1 million. It was just like fantastical, the figures they've got in here.
Wow.
Like millions they were going to make.
And so it all turned out to be false, and there was no gold on the land?
There's a wee bit of gold on the river.
My wedding ring comes from the river.
Oh really?
Yeah.
The gold from your wedding ring comes from this river?
Yes.
How lovely.
Yeah. An old gold miner found me the gold. Yeah. So that's pretty special. So there is gold in the river, but not the quantities that when they were trying to get investors, the quantities were fantastical.
So you've been running this as a bed and breakfast for a while now. How are you finding that experience?
Yeah, it's been really good. We have horse trekkers that stay for upwards of from one night to 3 or 4 nights. And we cater for them. And when you're not hosting guests, do you sneak down here yourselves to stay in the cabin? Absolutely, yeah. Because you've got the beautiful bath. We have a hot bath, and can have some privacy, because we sometimes need privacy, because we often have woofers and people staying with us that help us through the summer, which means that we don't always have a lot of privacy at home. So yeah, it's a weekend away without going very far. And we have an outdoor fire pit, and we're a little bit paranoid about fire being close to the cabin, so we built a whole fire pit by the river.
Oh,
so do you want to go and have a look at that?
Oh yes, please, let's check that out. This is unbelievable. What a gorgeous river, and I love what you've created here.
Yeah, we've got the couch and the black and white TV to watch the Nature Channel. So you can sit here and you can watch the fire when it's on, and the river.
Brilliant.
So you don't need any electronics.
You certainly don't.
Black and white TV right there. Or colour TV, really.
It certainly is. I absolutely love it. This is such a beautiful and special place. And you know what? Your grandfather, he might have got conned into buying the land for the gold, but he certainly got himself a treasure anyway. And I think it's amazing that 3 generations later, you're still here, and you've really done something exceptional with this place. Thank you so much for sharing it with me.
Oh, that's okay. No worries.
In the modern world, it's so easy for us just to get so busy and so lost in electronics and computers that we really just forget about what's important. And being able to come back to a place like this, completely disconnect from everything and just enjoy this incredible natural beauty from the wondrous comfort of such a gorgeous little hut is a truly incredible experience.
The Baton River, its beauty and its presence, to the mountain creeks it cradles. Their veins run deep beneath the crested hillside, long before they're seen. High in the hills, its waters run in rapids. Here, you could cross it, dry-footed, stone to stone from either side. For it's now a little more in this place, but a creek to the glory of its union, tracking down its history's scene, and the beauty of the landscape by its side. Its waters so clear and blue, they trick the eye in the depths of the caverns of its floor. Passing the river flats, its waters track out and track down and track out again. They're like eyes of the soul of the landscape passing by. Whole trees flooded down and ground into sticks of driftwood by its side, to be flooded back and ground down to wooden pebbles on its beaches, where the Baton River gifts its mountain water to the Motueka.